As a former Christian, going through my deconstruction phase and trying to understand who this Jesus Christ character really is through and through, and never giving up on finding out who this person really is. After studying the Talmud, the Zohar, and the Torah, just by simply observing, I think I may have come to the truth as to who this Jesus Christ character truly is. Everything I'm saying is all entertainment. This is all made up. Everything I'm saying is not true. Everyone has experienced an event in their life when they were young that created the trajectory or destiny for the rest of their lives. And if you can relate, you know what I'm talking about. With me being indoctrinated into this Christian heaven-hell fearscape situation and trying to understand this Jesus Christ, Son of God character for what he really is, maybe this is my task. The next clip you're about to see is an excerpt from a 1-hour interview that I clipped together for you to check out. Trigger warning, and remember, everything in this video is all just for entertainment purposes. This is all made up, and I don't even know what I'm talking about. Check this out, yo.
Separated from the light. But because this primordial chaos is the original firstborn son, the firstborn son inherits both the beginning of the cycle and the end of the cycle. And the end of the cycle is the world to come, which will happen when chaos has assimilated all of the light. And most people who study Judaism, the vast majority, are not aware of the fact that the ultimate aim of the Kabbalists is for evil to triumph and to absorb all of the light. And they want to break this cosmic cycle at the end so that chaos triumphs forever, because chaos is the highest firstborn soul, known as Yechida, in Kabbalah. But they lament the fact that the non-Israelites existed before the Israelites. So the non-Israelites have this firstborn soul, which was given to the twin Esau and given to Cain, because Cain in Kabbalah is actually the son of Eve and the serpent from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and not the son of Adam and Eve. So it is the serpent who represents, the evil serpent represents primordial chaos, the firstborn son and the highest soul. That soul has been reincarnated. In Kabbalah, reincarnation is also a belief called Gilgul. And they believe that Jesus Christ is the reincarnation of Satan's soul through Cain and then through Esau, and then it entered into Jesus. It will be reincarnated 2 more times as Armilus, who is the Antichrist. The Christ returns as the Antichrist in Kabbalah. And I'll show you passages later on which explain this in the words of the Kabbalists. And then Jesus returns as Gog and Magog to destroy all the Christians and all the nations. Satan plays several significant roles in Judaism. He tempts through the evil inclination that I was discussing, through the black horse. He tempts souls to commit sin. And that's actually a good thing in Judaism, because it provides a necessary test to weed out those souls which are weak so that they can be punished. And when they are punished, they then return in a better form. So Satan is actually seen as a good force who works for the gods and is a very important figure. So Jesus played that role. Jesus tempted the Israelites to worship him, which would be worshiping Satan and rejecting Yahweh. And then those that do, and all of the Gentiles who become Christians, will then receive the divine accusations and the divine judgment and be cursed by their worship of Satan, by their worship of Jesus Christ, and they will become damned. So when Jesus promises eternal life to those who believe in him, what he is really doing is tempting them to engage in the idolatrous worship of Satan and then become cursed. So Christianity was initiated as a trap for the Romans of the Roman Empire. And the process they undertook to do this was they duped the Romans into worshiping Satan in the form of Jesus Christ, who is the reincarnated soul of Satan through Cain. And then they adopted the highest gods of the Greeks by adopting Platonic philosophy and the Orphic mythologies, which became Adam Kadmon in Kabbalah, who is this god, Phanes Protogenes, who brings the divine light to cause creation. So what they did was they traded gods with the non-Israelites. And they believe at the end of this cycle, they will be able to kill off Yahweh and destroy order and the Torah by simply disbelieving in it. one of the main tenets of Kabbalah is that gods come into existence through believing in them in the form of an egregore, where if you have a group of consciousnesses that all conceive of this god then comes into existence and provides protection. So that was one of the means that they had of destroying the Romans and the Greeks, was to get them to disbelieve in their own gods so that those gods would die off and they would lose all of their supernatural protection. And there is an ancient Egyptian principle called as above, so below. It was inscribed in the Emerald Tablets, and it was adopted by Kabbalah. And they very much believe in this, that there is an earth in the heavens that mirrors our earth, and human beings mirror the gods, and the gods mirror human beings. Excuse me. Such that when the humans cease to believe in their gods perish, and the perishing of those gods causes those human beings to die off. So they were in effect engaged in supernatural warfare to dupe the Romans into abandoning their gods, which they then believed would cause the Romans themselves to die off. The Christian Kabbalists who emerged during the Renaissance acknowledged the fact that Jesus is Satan, and they had the concept of the pentagram, which has 5 points to the star. And the name for God in Hebrew is the Holy Tetragrammaton, composed of 4 letters, Yod He Vav He. And those 4 letters have a 5th letter to form the Pentagrammaton in Christian Kabbalah, to make a pentagram out of it. And it introduces a middle letter, Shin, which is composed of 3 Vavs, in other words, 666, because all letters in Hebrew also signify numbers. And they said that Jesus' name is actually Yeshua, which is the Pentagrammaton with a Shin added in the middle. When the pentagram is pointed upwards, it represents the good aspect of Jesus, which is the human aspect of Adam and Eve. In Gnosticism and in Kabbalah, Adam and Eve were considered an androgyne. They were both male and female as Adam, and then Adam literally had 2 heads and was cut in half by the gods to form Adam and Eve. Satan was also initially an androgyne, and his male aspect was called Samael, and his female aspect was called Lilith. So when Jesus in Orthodox Christianity is acknowledged as having the dual nature of being human and being the Son of God, in the New Testament, he is called both the Son of Man and the Son of God. So he has this dual nature. But the Christian Kabbalists and the Gnostics acknowledged that the man form was the androgyne Adam and Eve, who is known as Jesus and Sophia in Gnosticism. Jesus is the male aspect, Sophia, wisdom, is the female aspect. And he is also Satan, and he is the male aspect, Samael, and the female aspect, Lilith. And when the Pentagrammaton is pointing downwards, it represents the godly aspect of Satan. And that is spelled Lameth, Vav, Yod, Tav, Nun, which spells Leviathan. Leviathan is the evil serpent, which is Jesus Christ.
Man.
Now you can see it very plainly in this image. The cross actually represents the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Jesus represents the serpent in that tree, providing knowledge to man and woman, Adam and Eve. When they consume the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, they are consuming gnosis, knowledge. That's where the word Gnostic comes from. It is the Greek word for knowledge. So Jesus is the serpent returned to give Christians, to give Adam and Eve, human beings, gnosis, knowledge. And the way that he does that is by asking them to consume him. They consume his blood in the form of wine, and they consume his flesh in the form of bread. So what Christians are doing when they become Christians is consuming the knowledge of good and evil in the same way that Adam and Eve were tempted by Satan to consume the knowledge of good and evil. So Jesus is that same being. He is Satan, but they believe that knowledge was good, and Yahweh was evil because he tried to keep human beings from obtaining that knowledge, which would turn human beings into God and ultimately allow chaos to triumph over light. Here you can see Christ in the tree of knowledge, and the symbology to those in the know would be that the tree is the cross and Satan is the serpent. and Christians are Adam and Eve consuming the gnosis. It's also important to understand that at this time that Christianity was formed, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil was considered to be a grapevine. And that is why Jesus offers up his blood in the form of wine. He is giving the fruit of that grapevine to humanity to consume as knowledge, gnosis. Jesus on the cross is portrayed exactly as Satan in the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, because that's who Jesus is. So you can see here, this is Satan with the face of Lilith, his female aspect, offering gnosis, which is the fruit that he gives to Adam and Eve. So Satan is Jesus, gnosis is the fruit, which becomes the wine, the grapes of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and the cross is the tree itself. Same images. The tree is the cross, Jesus is the serpent, Christians are Adam and Eve. This is Satan hanging on the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and this is Adam and Eve absorbing the gnosis, the knowledge of his blood, which is the grape juice, the wine extracted from the fruit of gnosis, of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now
would you say that all these Abrahamic religions are basically a trap to get you back into this same Judaic kind of worship?
Yes, they are exchanging the pagan gods for the Abrahamic gods, so that the people who are the firstborn, the non-Israelites, lose their soul. So what Jesus is actually doing is stealing all of the souls, and that's what Shezmu would do. So you can see it was a persistent image, and they are always gathering the blood to feed to the angels and to feed to God. So this is describing Jesus and all the blood that Jesus will spill. Jesus is often depicted in a red or crimson or purple robe, which represents the blood, the wine that he's going to spill. Jesus is anticipated as returning as the Antichrist to reap the harvest of all the non-Israelite souls. And that with it, he should smite the nations. The nations in Hebrew is the word goyim, which represents all non-Israelites. So Jesus is returning as the advocate of Israel to kill off all their enemies. So when the goat, which is the scapegoat, is given to Satan, he stops accusing the Israelites of their sins and instead unjustly accuses the non-Israelites of the sins of the Israelites. So that's why on Yom Kippur, 2 goats are offered up, and one is given to Satan, who is the accuser in the heavenly court, so that he does not accuse Israel and instead betrays his children, the non-Israelites, and accuses them for the sins of the Israelites. And that's where the expression scapegoat comes from. It comes from this myth of burdening the non-Israelites with the sins. And this is important to understand because Jesus is the scapegoat. And he was also predicted in Isaiah 53 to bear the iniquities, all the sins of Israel. But the big secret is that he places those sins on Christians. So when Christians bear their cross, as they are told to do, what they are really doing is becoming scapegoats for all the sins of Israel. And they will ultimately be judged for all those sins and exterminated in the end times.
What do y'all think about that? This is not a move of me trying to fearmonger you. This is simply me trying to reveal to you what I have learned after spending many, many years of my own life, putting all of my energy and time and attention and soul into looking into this situation until I hit a wall that I can't penetrate. And this is where it has led me. But take all the information in this video with a grain of salt. Everything in this video is not true. It's all just for entertainment. It's all satire. Within this savior matrix simulation that we exist in, could it be possible that we're all getting caught up in this good cop, bad cop scenario? The biggest cosmic psyop in history? These are observations that I wanted to share your way. So make sure to drop your comments and let me know what you think about this whole clip. Comment, like, and follow for more.